Hi guys, so I'm gonna do something new today. It's gonna be kind of like a blog thing. It's gonna be my thoughts on a certain subject. And you might see a few jump cuts, but those are probably just me trying to like condense it down a little bit so I'm not just aimlessly rambling through the whole thing. So, hope you enjoy. Okay, so Ghost at the Watchman's coming out tomorrow. And I know this video is gonna be very, very topical about like the pre-release thoughts. And already some reviewers are already like giving their 2 cents in. I've heard one say it was very messy, but right now, let's just focus on what we already know as established facts, and it's not looking too good. I mean, the part where I really lost faith in the project was when they said that Atticus Finch is going to be racist, which doesn't make a lot of sense on a lot of levels. I also read about what the plot's going to be about, and I don't really like... It's just not going to be pretty, basically, from what I see right now. But just to get the whole story, this incredibly suspicious, incredibly weird story involving Ghost at the Watchman and how it was found in some weird safe, I believe, in 2014. Some people are saying it was actually found in 2011. It's a lot of conflicting accounts. And people are just wondering, Harper Lee has been against this book coming out for so long. She's blasted against it. She said she disliked it, and now we get the statement from her. It's like, oh, I'm so pleased that the publisher thought that my work was good. I want it to be seen amongst the masses. And then, but it's very, very sketchy because her caretaker, Harper Lee's like senile old woman. She's got like a foot in the grave, all due respect to her. But her caretaker, who was her sister, died, I believe, in 2012. Like very recently, and people are just kind of scratching their heads looking over because her sister was the person who was responsible for a lot of the property, including Ghost at the Watchman and what would happen to it. And now she's dead. People are wondering, was Harper Lee coerced by these publishers somewhere into getting it out there, since she really doesn't have a good grip on what's going on right now? So it's very, very sketchy. People are very skeptical. I believe there was a investigation, but they didn't really find anything, which is good, but people are still very, very not looking at this project with a lot of confidence. So essentially, what's wrong with Ghost at the Watchman from like an outsider's perspective? Again, I haven't read the book. Probably do a book review once it comes out, whether it's good or bad. But what are people very nervous about? Well, the plot essentially curtails that Scout, who is the main character, this beautiful young ingenue from the first book, she's coming back. She now lives in New York in the mid-50s. She's a nice, strong woman. And she goes back to Alabama, and she sees her father, and she has this boyfriend now, I believe his name is Henry, and they're both racist. And that's what we know right now. She has to deal with that racism. And then you're kind of scratching your head because you're like, Atticus, as in Atticus Finch, crusading lawyer, the guy of my dreams from when I was little, pillar of justice, he's racist. It's so sad. And that doesn't make a lot of sense on a lot of levels, as you see, because Atticus Finch, he's defended this black man. He's pro-segregationist in this book. He calls the people of Alabama, like the black people of the town, childish. He's just doing all these like awful things that are so out of character. So what exactly is Ghost at the Watchman? Really, it's kind of a first draft of To Kill a Mockingbird, where essentially she presented it to the publisher. This was the first book she wrote, and the publisher was like, okay, I like the premise, I like the idea, but can you make Scout a little bit younger? That was the idea they had, and Harper took it and she ran with it, and she created To Kill a Mockingbird, gave it to the publisher, and the rest is history. And meanwhile, this first draft, this To Ghost at the Watchman, which is really just a completely separate story, but people are calling it the first draft, was apparently sitting in a safe somewhere for 60 years. Harper Lee didn't want anybody to touch it, as I said before, but now it's coming out, and you're just wondering, were there characterizations that were rewritten? For example, Atticus, obviously. Was he, like, racist here? And did Harper just decide, okay, maybe I'm not going to make him racist in this second draft, which we can call To Kill a Mockingbird? So it gets very, very messy in that way if you view it as like a first draft rather than a true sequel, which it technically really is. And with this new characterization, you kind of see this regression almost, which is what I kind of fear from this project. It's this regression of characterization where characters are actually going backwards. Like Atticus Finch regressing into racism. And it's not just Atticus. I'm also fearful of Scout as a protagonist, because she's now this mature woman going back. And what made her so special in the original story was that she was seeing everything with these innocent eyes, so you saw everything from this objective standpoint. She really was like the perfect narrator protagonist. She was learning everything alongside the reader. But now in this new book, it seems like she's like the only non-racist one, and I'm fearful it's going to be like her just teaching her father and boyfriend how not to be racist or be more understanding. And you really can't have a protagonist know everything from the start. It's just trying to dispense her knowledge like some Jesus amongst the illiterate masses. It just doesn't make sense. And it's weird to see Scout in that position, because last time we saw her, she was this adorable little 6-year-old girl who was learning how the world works from her apparently racist father, and now we're seeing her as someone who knows everything now and is trying to give back knowledge and send it to people like her boyfriend and her father, who really, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see a protagonist who already knows everything give everything back. There's no progression in that. There's progression amongst other characters, but there's no progression with the protagonist, which is really what you look for in a book. So again, the book isn't out yet, but I think the major takeaway, if it does turn out to be bad, if it does get mixed reviews, or if it does taint the legacy of To Kill a Mockingbird, is to remember that someone is profiting from this. Someone is profiting from these like insane, sensationalist headlines. They were the ones who brought out the book, they're the publisher, and people are going to buy this book anywhere, good or bad. They just want to see what happened to their beloved Scout and racist Atticus Finch. And he's going to make money. This book could be a steaming pile of crap, and he'll get paid at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what happens to Harper Lee's legacy, doesn't matter what happens to Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus Finch is out of the picture. Just doesn't matter anymore. He's going to make money for possibly ruining someone's reputation, maybe, through this sensational new story that should never have been published to begin with. And that's really the real tragedy of this whole thing. So those are just my quick thoughts on what's going on right now. Again, the book isn't out right now. It could be great tomorrow, who knows. But just based on what we're hearing from these reviewers right now and the public perception right now, it doesn't look very promising, and people are just very fearful of what's going to go on. And just remember, by the time this is all over, hopefully To Kill a Mockingbird's still going to be around. Maybe we can choose to ignore this horrible Ghost at the Watchman, or maybe Ghost at the Watchman will be this great new continuation. We don't know right now. But all you have to do right now is just cross your fingers and hope for the best. Hope to see you guys next week.